My name is JT Morris, and I'm the General Manager of Orpheus Musical Theatre. It's been a little over a year since we've been on the stage for you, and you might be wondering what's going on. Well, I'm here to tell you that Orpheus is not going anywhere. We're just in a period of intermission. And what do you do during an intermission? You refresh, refocus, revitalize. Today I'd like to bring you in our doors to show you a little bit about all the improvements we're making here to improve the working conditions of our volunteers and in turn provide you with a better product once we're back on the stage. It's time for an Orpheus revival. Come on and check it out with me. Now at Orpheus, we're very fortunate to be in a position where we can take some time away from shows, but it does mean we need to refocus our energy into our internal operations and improving them for the betterment of our product. That begins right here. See, prior to now, we never had a space on site for our volunteers to actually do their work. They were always stuck at home on their laptops, they couldn't print anything here, and it makes the job very difficult. Now we have a fully integrated production office for our volunteers to work on site. Everything's connected to our networks, they can print their documents, they can store the hundreds of files and documents that they need just for one production right here. Now before we have people coming into the building, obviously they need a safe parking lot. And the one that's currently at Orpheus has a lot of issues. Firstly, the drainage from our flat roof is excessive, and with the grading of the lot itself, together, it turns it into a sheet of ice in the winter, and that is not an exaggeration. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tear it all up, we're gonna move the eaves troughing to go underground so it drains directly there, and we're gonna resurface this spot so that it's safe and nobody has to worry about tripping and falling in the winter. So this is the costume room. You're used to seeing it loaded with materials, costumes, desks, sewing machines, etc. But we've completely gutted it to do some significant work in here. Firstly, we're going to box in all of this ductwork because it gets super hot in here, and that ensures that we can cut down on some of the radiating heat. And we're going to generally paint it up, clean it, make it nicer for them. But the really important thing is replacing this floor. So this is old asbestos tile floor. It's cracked, it's breaking, it's a mess. We have to improve it for our volunteers. And while some departments can get by with cracks in the floor, you probably don't want it in the costume room where they are literally in charge of picking up needles. And where do we put everything that's usually in here? Very sorry, our board members don't have a space to work now. Now, in keeping with enhancing the volunteer experience, welcome to the green room. This is a place where cast, crew can take a little bit of a break between jobs and relax. Now, not a lot of work needs to be done here, but it does need a bit of a facelift, and it actually does have some impracticalities that affect our operations. For one, we have a kitchenette that is right in a high transfer area, blocking traffic flow, which upsets rehearsal time. So instead, we're going to knock that out, create more storage space that is needed for coats, boots, accessories for the 50 plus people we have in this building at the same time. We'll move the kitchenette to an unused space over here, and then just give a general facelift to the space so that it's more functional and more comfortable. It will also prevent the space from becoming a workspace for the props department, which happens far too often. And let's find out why. So this is the props area. There are two huge impediments to this space that affects our productions. One, not enough workspace. Two, it is right in a high transfer zone from the workshop into the rehearsal hall. This causes a lot of issues, so what we're going to do here is actually tear out all of this storage down here and replace it with workstations. And above, we are going to build a fully supported platform to create extra storage space for all these items down here. And then on this side, we're going to break down this workspace that they have, which is a bit dated and not enough room, and instead replace it with multiple workstations that are collapsible so that when we have big pieces moving back and forth, our volunteers can quickly get out of the way and no work is interrupted. Now, one of the biggest areas we need for our prop storage is this mezzanine here in the shop. It is hugely advantageous for us to ensure that we can keep a large inventory, but the problem is the accessibility. So behind me are the stairs for the mezzanine, and they are very difficult to work with. There's low overhead, very tight room, there's no banister, and you have to pull a 180 turn to get anything up or down. So we end up with a large inventory of things that just aren't being used. So what we're gonna do is knock out these stairs. We're gonna move them over here where there's a lot more space available and make them more accessible to our props volunteers so that we can get furniture up and down a lot easier and moving things along for our production. What else is going on in the shop? A whole lot. So it looks like a mess right now, but that's because we've had our members and volunteers in here actively working to clean it out and purge things. Right now, we're focused on redesigning it and ensuring that it's up to today's safety standards. You'll see that we've done some mold remediation and that we're clearing it out to make room for proper workstations, such as table saws, miter saws, drawing tables, and so much more. They've never had these designated areas before. With them, we will ensure our operations are a lot more efficient. And we're updating all of our tools and equipment to ensure that they are up to safety standards. And finally, we've never had proper dust extraction in here. So we've purchased a bunch of dust extractors, and we're ensuring that all of our tools have them directly attached so that our shop volunteers have a good space to work in. Now this is the access area from the shop all the way up to the paint loft. This is where we can hoist up large set pieces so that they can get painted and ready for you on stage. If you look way up, you're gonna see that yellow rope. That was a pulley system. It was pretty heavy and hard to use, but Jim Robertson generously donated that electrical hoist. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to use it because we don't have a fall restraint system in place. Now, this puts us behind schedule. It means that the painters have to coordinate with the shop personnel to paint all of their stuff down here, which puts our set building behind schedule. And we're often forced to keep painting set pieces on stage right before you see the show. So what we're gonna do is weld in some anchors to the floor, provide our crews with proper harnesses, and we'll get them working at heights training to make sure everybody is safe while operating the hoist and bringing all of those set pieces up and down. And why do I keep talking about storage solutions? How much do we really have to store? Quite a bit. And right now, it's all in here. All in here. While we're working on all of these improvements through the building, thank goodness we have Rice Hall to use as a storage space, temporarily. Welcome to Rice Hall, our faithful rehearsal venue since 1947. It's not being used a lot right now, but I thought it would be a great space to share my final thoughts with you. No, we're not doing any changes in here. This space is fine. But while we do all this work in the building, it's important to know that we can't do it alone, and that's where you come in. From the parking lot to the production office, the costume room, the green room, the workshop, the props room. Your contributions help make it all happen and ensure we can continue operating for another 115 years. But they do a little bit more than that too. See, your contributions bring you into our doors more. They make you a part of the Orpheus community. And with that, one final announcement. Since 1995, our donors have been proudly known as angels. However, in the spirit of community and bringing you in our doors, we want you to feel a little more at home, a little more a part of the product with us. It's not to say that you're not angels in our hearts and will forever be. You are. But it's just time for a change and to welcome you in differently. So from here on, our donors are now artists, part of our community. They help make it happen. Donations of $100 to $150, you are now known as star performers. From $150 to $250, you are our backstage champions. From $250 to $500, you're now a legendary producer. $500 to $999, congratulations, you're a triple threat. And donations of $1,000 or more, you are now officially known as a showstopper. So why not consider making a contribution to the Revival Fund today and joining us in the Orpheus community? Feel free to get in touch with me, 613-729-4318, or by email at info@orpheus-theater.ca. I'd love to talk to you more about the Revival Fund.